This solenoid right here is a 4-pole 12-volt solenoid. I believe it's a 60 amp. It's going to be what's replacing the relay. Here's the part number that I use. This is from AutoZone. On the blueprints that I've attached, we'll also have a part number from Advanced Auto. So I'm going to set this off to the side. I use this switch here. This is from Napa. It's a 50 amp switch. I noticed whenever I started using the smaller ones, the 30 amps, they would burn up, wouldn't last very long. So started going with the 50 amp, and they seem to last the longest, the duration. I'll set this off to the side as well. And also, I use resettable breakers as opposed to fuses. If it trips after so many seconds, it will reset, so you're not going through a bunch of different fuses and such. This is actually a 40 amp Delavan. Request a 30 amp maximum, so this will be swapped out with a 30 amp. I thought I'd pick the 30 amp up and grabbed a 40 amp resettable breaker, as you see here. But I'm going to use it for the wiring purposes, and it'll all be the same. It'll all match up. First thing I'm going to do is open this up and pull this pump. First time this pump has been out of the box. It's a Delavan 7870 101Y-SB. They also make a 7970 101Y-SB. The difference is the connections. The 78070 is a 1/2 inch NPT connections, and the 7970 is the O-ring style. What we're going to be replacing is this little boy right here. This is the relay. It's in shrink wrap. This is the weakest link on the pump. And also this type of rig up, your Everflows that have a relay, you can also use this to bypass the relay. That relay is usually on a little under a little cover on the side of the pump. You open that up, you'll be looking at the same exact thing as this right here. First thing I'm going to do is show you this is, pull this screw here, that removes the relay. I'll stretch out the lines, and that way it'll give a little bit better information on where everything is going. No need for that anymore. You're not going to be using it. So this is what you're going to have whenever you're looking off of the pump. Now, the way that these things are wired, let me go ahead and clip this one. As you can see, this is your hot wire. The way that it's currently rigged up right now, this is your hot wire and your ground. That goes from your positive on the battery, negative on the battery. Again, this is your negative coming in. You got one wire coming to your pressure switch. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove this shrink wrap and get down to the wires and show you where we have to clip. If I cut myself, I'm going to edit it out and let's start back with a Band-Aid. This usually comes off pretty easily though. And there we go. That's what you got underneath. That's your relay right here. You can unplug it, And again, this is the weakest link. If you do have one go out in the field and you don't do this conversion, you can take this to the auto parts and they can cross match it and get you back into business. But if this goes down in the field, you're down until you replace it. But I believe I've got a couple laying around, brand new, never had any juice to them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at these. You got a ground wire that's coming in. If you look right here on your power in, you've got a jumper that runs a, I believe this is a 12 gauge wire. It comes in to your safety switch, to your pressure switch. And you have another wire coming off the other side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clip these two wires, which is the ground and the smaller wire that goes to the pressure switch. And this is the ground coming off of the bottom. And that's it. You no longer need this socket. I could have left some longer sticking out to be used, but I don't ever plan on using that again. If I'm going to use anything, it will be, you know, I'll salvage a little bit of this ground wire, this ground wire, and they're done away with it. All right. So what we're looking at right now is you've got the pressure switch. This is the bigger wire that's spliced into the main from the battery. And this is where we start wiring everything up. I'm going to set this off to the side for a minute and start working on the relay. The way the relay, I find it easy to read the blueprint. Some other people, they have issues with it. The first thing we're going to do, I believe I've already got a jumper wire made up. If not, I'll make one up and install it. This is the way that it comes off. This ground here goes to your ground to your battery. You want to have a jumper wire from this number 1 pole to this number 2 pole, and this is all on the ground side. This is your only hot point on here. So this goes to your battery. Have a jumper from here to here, so that it can make a connection together whenever the pressure switch sends a signal. This ground here goes from the ground to your pump. All right, I pretty much have all my wiring ready. First thing I'm going to do is work on this solenoid. This is going to be a jumper wire that goes. Now, if you're looking at this solenoid, your full 4 poles are going to be to the top. This wire right here, this goes to battery, ground to battery. So let me snug these up real quick. Jumper wire from pole number 1 to pole number 2 on the face, looking at it. Coming off of the pump itself to this pole. And I use 3/8. This is 10 gauge wire. Coming off the pump it's either 12 or 10 gauge. This, I believe, is possibly down to 12 or 14 gauge. I can't really see it here. This comes installed on the pump. This is actually 16 auger wire. This one here is 18 AUG, but I've got it coming back to 12. So anyways, I'm going to come off the pump ground. Excuse this red wire right now. Coming off the pump ground is going to go to pole number 4. Now these are the only wires that come on that these are going to, so you can snug them up. Actually, once I get it up and everything mounted is whenever I'm going to snug everything up, but this is just for you guys to see. All right, this wire here, again, this is coming off of the pressure switch. This is the small wire coming off the pressure switch. This is going to be mounted to this third pole. The reason I'm not going to do it right now is because I don't know how high I'm going to have it. Well, I'll go ahead and run this one here. Alright guys, you gotta love shrink wrap or this plastic. This is going to help keep some moisture out of there to help keep it from corroding. I've seen people put dielectric on their connectors. Dielectric doesn't help with corrosion, or what was told to me. It doesn't help with connection, but it helps reduce corrosion. So, just my luck, I'm going to cut this one here and have to redo it, but it's no big deal. Got plenty of wire. This is going to be your only positive wire to the solenoid. Everything else works off of ground. This is what will be sending the signal from the pressure switch to go ahead and make the connection across the ground, completing a whole circuit, an entire circuit. So this is our setup. This goes to battery. This one here is actually going to my switch. Then I will have one wire from my switch to my breaker, from breaker to battery. So again, ground to battery, jumper cable to second pole, pressure switch, the small wire, not the wire that's connected to the main power, and this is the ground to the pump. And it's that easy. All right, here we are in the trailer. This is my main wire coming from my batteries, goes to a bus board. I've got the jumper from the bus board to the breaker to the switch, which is the lower one. The switch itself comes into the main line, and the solenoid, of course, ground, pole number 4, small wire from the switch, jumper cable and ground to the top of my blending system. My ground on my battery pack is actually grounded to the frame of my trailer, which the frame to my blending system is grounded via fastener to the sidewall.